All right, we're live. It's the over-under college football, a little bit of basketball mixed in podcast. We'll be on tomorrow morning, of course, but at least we get a word in edgewise on this show here. Hello, Dan Lifshatz. How are you today?
I'm good, Joe. How you doing?
It's Wednesday night. We have a basketball game on, currently on, so I'm going to pop that on in the background, and we can do a little watch along with the folks at home.
Yeah, I got a nice 6-point lead for the Heat right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's super early. It's nothing. Not too much I would care about.
Last I checked, I saw Brooke Lopez hit a three, got fouled. I don't know why they reviewed it, but that was the last thing I saw there on that one. So we might even have a halftime bet for this game. So I'm looking forward to that, depending on what's happening on in that there. But there is college football tonight, Dan. My book wasn't offering it earlier this morning, so I'm curious if that will be available.
I don't have anything tonight. I have stuff tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow's the 3rd. I'm sorry. That's why.
Yep.
That's why, Dan. I can't get my dude. I don't know what game is.
There's 2 games tomorrow. There's South Alabama, Southern Mississippi, and Central Arkansas, UAB.
There it is. Those are the 2 games. Do people like this view of our big heads, or do they like this view better?
I like that one much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get real close in depth.
I don't like that. There we go. Let's keep it that way.
And then here you can get lift shots real up and close and personal.
That's fine too, but I prefer the other one. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll begin. Send in your questions, Q&A. We have a lot of people watching right now. Hello. So what we suggest you do is if you got questions, send them in. Even if it's NBA stuff, we'll just do it there for tonight. But we're going to do a college football breakdown. And to be honest with you, I'm still a little confused on who's playing and who's not. So, I don't know if we should start there. I know the ACC's full barrel. I know the SEC's going in. At times, I don't know if the Big 12 is, but I think it is.
Big 12 is playing. They seemingly are full steam ahead, although it seems like Iowa State decided no fans now in Ames, so that's a little different. So obviously that no Pac-12, obviously, which is not a surprise. Bunch of West Coasters a little scared about that, so not totally surprised about that. And then the Big Ten, we've heard a lot, kind of back and forth about what's going to happen there. And so we'll see what happens with Big Ten. I'm hopeful, but everyone is scared, and so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, and I'm upset about Mountain West. I love those Hawaii late night games. No Pac-12, so that's going to be interesting there. I wonder how they're going to spread out the schedule. That's going to be, Dan. We've been betting on college sports for a long time. So it's there are these days where the nooners are bloodbaths, and then all of a sudden you get to the 3 p.m. and the Ohio State's roll and the other teams roll. And then all of a sudden you're like, I got to get my 7 o'clock bet in. And then, all right, who's playing at 10? And then is there the degenerate special at midnight? So that is going to be interesting to me, not to mention all the action during the week. There's no little games to throw in here and there. So, I think bankroll management is actually going to be harder this year because there's no late games to depend on if you have a tough early morning or a tough early afternoon.
Yeah, looking at the 9-12 schedule, that is for next week in college football. There are a ton of 12 o'clock games. I shouldn't say a ton, a bunch of 12 o'clock games and 2 3:30 games. So that is it. So as of right now, after 3:30, and my assumption is they're going to make way for, the NBA playoffs and everything like that. That's pretty much going to be the case there. So as of right now, we're looking at 12 o'clock games and 3 o'clock games, unless it's on, Thursday. Maybe you'll get a late Saturday game. We do have an 8 p.m. Saturday game this weekend, Arkansas State, Memphis. So, there's one late-ish game. There's a 1:30, a 4:30, and 8 o'clock. So, not super spread out. But we'll kind of dig into that. So, Joe, what do you want to do first? Do you want to start off with week one, or do you guys want to take a look at maybe some conferences before we start getting into week one here? Because
I'd rattle off conferences. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'll tell you, I have done my research on ACC. I've done my research on the Big 12. I've started into my SEC research. The SEC doesn't start for a few weeks, so I didn't feel like it was necessary to kind of get all that in. And week one, outside of a few conference games, I don't think we have anything until next week, which is the 12th. I think Syracuse, North Carolina, and like Georgia Tech, Florida State. I think those are like the first conference games. So if you guys don't know, most books, not all, but most books this year, if you can even get college totals, are going by the conference totals and not the win totals. So, what's going to happen is you're going to see a ton of plays in, specific conferences. And you're going to have to be very careful on win totals because some win totals will only count for conference play only, and some will account for the week one or midseason games that they randomly play.
All right, Dan. Yep, I like that. I'm sorry, I got my game on and I got the hoops game on here on my phone because it won't work on my laptop. But whatever. So some people can chat in right away, just real quick. And I'm interested in this because there's news today about quarterbacks opting out. There's transfer portals. There's all sorts of stuff happening at the moment. So we'll start off with a few questions. What's up, boys? What's up, gents? Best two around. Thank you. People like the big head view. Upset about the Pac-12. Let's see. Forge starts Avalanche game tonight.
No thanks.
Do you think the conference only play will lead to very tough lines this year? Yes.
Yeah. We're definitely going to get into conference play. Obviously, the lack of road games this year because essentially no one's playing on the road. So there's no places that are 100% filled. So that's going to be interesting as well.
The Tennessee Vols win total. Maybe I hate Tennessee. Oh my God, do I never bet them?
Maybe we'll do SEC next week, and I haven't done SEC yet, but I've done ACC Big 10, so I feel good about it. Big 12, sorry, so I feel good about those.
Nice curtains, Dan.
Yes, you're welcome, man. My wife's curtains, so I don't give a shit about that stuff.
No action. That's just a sad.
Very sad.
Who do you think the Celtics would rather play? I think the Celtics just want to get to the finals.
We'll get into that later.
One NHL game tonight. We mentioned that. Which one is Joe? Which one do you think is Joe?
Not me.
How about that? Well, what did Dan have for supper? Because one of the last times you were on,
I had 5 pieces of bacon, and a cheese stick. That was my.
Oh dinner. Wow! I had a flatbread pizza.
Nice
on cauliflower bread.
Nice.
I mean, is that healthy? I don't even know anymore.
I am on the carnivore diet, so I cannot have the flatbread pizza. So, there you go.
Does Dan still think the Celtics are the 4th best team in the East?
Yep, I absolutely do.
Okay, well, all right, that's it for now. Keep them coming. We'll stop and take a break once in a while, and we'll look at that. So, all right, I just pulled up the college schedule. I see a lot of postpone. Let's start in the ACC because obviously Clemson's like the team that everybody wants to talk about, and probably the team that's going to have dude, their schedule is stupid easy. Stupid easy. Now they will play Notre Dame, who's now into their conference this year. But I don't know, man. When I look at it, there have been teams that have threatened, I think if it was off top of my head without doing any research, there is plenty of overrated teams that are in the ACC. I think Miami's an overrated team just off the bat, right? They're just always an overrated team. Florida State, right? But maybe with a
horrible offensive line. It doesn't matter. Their offensive line is horrendous.
So maybe with a new coach, we know that Jamie Newman goes from Wake Forest. He transfers to Georgia and then bows out today. You know what I mean? So Wake Forest is one of those teams I loved to bet on last year because they put up a ton of points, but they faded late in the season, just like Colorado did. Yep. But I think BC is going to be better. But are they your team you want to bet? So like that's one thing I'd stay away from. North Carolina, like they had some really tough wins last year.
Yeah. So let's get into it. First off, Clemson. Let's get into Clemson's schedule, Joe, because I think we can go through the teams. Let's go easy. First week they open with the Citadel. Nice and easy, right? What are your thoughts on Virginia this year? They're home. Clemson second game home versus Virginia. Obviously, no Bryce Perkins. Hard game for them. Do you like Virginia this year? How do you feel about them?
So I just think that they're going to have a whole new offense, right? I mean, maybe they'll have a good recruiting class, but Bryce Perkins was a lot of their team last year. He did everything. Their defense was good. I will say that but I think they had one of the top linebackers in the country who went in the draft. So, that's probably a rebuilding year for them. I'll actually look up there who they're because I remember seeing their backup quarterback at one point last year. And like he played like scrub time for them. And I remember who'd they play in the bowl game when they got smashed. Was it Ohio State? I'm trying to think of who they played. Brennan Armstrong is going to be their quarterback. So I don't remember him, but they had another kid there. But Bronco Mendenhall, let's face it, that when he had his little run at Boise, he could always come up with some sort of quarterback, whether it was a guy who handed the ball off or whatever. But just reading quickly about Brennan Armstrong, he's left-handed. He attempted 25 passes last year. They were all in relief. So, yeah, that is the kid that was in relief. And just looking at it here, they have another kid that they like, Katon Thompson. He transferred from Mississippi State. But they're going to go with this left-hander that is obviously Mendenhall's guy. So, well, they're probably going to throw the ball a little bit more this year. I think they've been known for having a dual-threat quarterback. But, yeah, do I look at am I interested in Virginia this year? No. They don't have that standout quarterback like they did a year ago.
Yeah, lose a lot of production. With Perkins, obviously Mendenhall has been a fantastic fucking coach for years, ever since Boise State days. Obviously, I don't like them week 2 versus Clemson. Not exactly which is, by the way, doesn't start till October 3rd, so we're still a whole month out from that epic game. But nonetheless, Clemson gets a nice, easy schedule. I think they are to start. Virginia, obviously, not the team they were last year. So, yeah, I agree. I think Virginia, especially early, is going to struggle offensively to kind of replace everything that Perkins did. Now, they've lost some defenders. Their quarterback opted out. He was, absolutely elite. They've lost a whole slew of guys on that team. I'm not a big fan of them. By the way, Miami up 9 at the end of the first.
Just saw that, and it was a high-scoring game so far. Which there were some people wondering which way they would go with that one on the over or the under. So high-scoring game on that one. Other ACC teams, Dan, that made a good little impact last year that you have questions about.
Well, I think Miami, obviously. De'Aaron King is going to be the quarterback there, the transfer from Houston. If we were all about De'Aaron King last year. Love De'Aaron King. And then obviously he played like 3 games, opted out. So, you have to wonder what Miami is finally going to get with quarterback. You would expect them to be somewhat better because they're going to get at least a consistent quarterback there. I still worry about them in general. I really do. I mean, they're a decent team. I don't love them. I don't have their win total in front of me. I will see if I can pull it up here. But if I'm looking at Miami this year, they opened versus UAB. And Joe, remember last year UAB was sneaky good. In fact, I was actually, reading, kind of doing my stuff today, and I forgot that UAB absolutely smashed Southern Miss last year. They beat them like 37-3, and we were actually on that side, which is nice little toot our horn. But the fact is that absolutely demolished them, rolled them last year, and they have a bunch of interesting road games at Louisville. I think Louisville's going to be better. At Clemson. That's probably a scheduled loss. At Virginia Tech, who now has Hendon Hooker the whole year. We'll get into them coming up. And then Wake Forest. At Wake Forest, it's obviously lose Newman. This schedule to me does not fare well for Miami. I mean, if you look at their schedule, I see Florida State as a potential win, Virginia at NC State, Georgia Tech. I think they're going to struggle with Wake Forest. That's on the road, but I think they'll win that one. And North Carolina, I'm looking at 3 or 4 serious wins for Miami. So, even with De'Ara King, I don't know how high I am on them this year.
So the only thing I can tell you is King's going to be an improvement for whatever they've had at quarterback. Their offensive line was putrid the last few years. They got a new offensive coordinator. It's the dude from SMU. I forget his name. But SMU's had an offense that's been pretty good over the last couple of years. It was that the old what's his name there, Hawaii coach, their offense. But I will say this: they had a defensive end last year at 15.5 sacks as a freshman. Greg Russo, he's back. So they're going to be pretty. He's going to be, a guy, and they usually put a bunch of guys on them in their next year when they have those kind of seasons. I don't know if maybe a lot of scrub time on those sacks or anything like that, but the pressure's on Manny Diaz, man, and he's never been able to get that offense running. So Derek King could be the answer, but I do think it's going to come down to how that offensive line plays, and it's been bad there for the last few years.
He's probably coaching for his job, you'd have to think. At least I would think, because if you can't succeed with a guy like De'Ara King, man, I think it's probably over for you.
And not for nothing, dude. Like, remember Deion Sanders came out and he gets on what happens over at Florida State. Like, you mean to tell me Michael Irvin's not going to be, barking, or Ray Lewis isn't going to be barking at what's going on at Miami at some point? All these former athletes, so yeah, I think Manny Diaz is definitely looking for his job there.
Yep. No, I agree. Let's move on. Let's continue. Georgia Tech this year, Joe, obviously brought in a new coach
by the way,
last year.
Just found out Russo did opt out from now that I'm reading here.
Oh, that sucks.
Like, that's the problem, right? Like, how do we know? Like, I can't keep up with every single school, and who opts out and who doesn't.
Yep.
So yeah, to come think about that, that kid's going to sit out a year. I don't even think he can't even enter the draft next year.
I mean, he's a freshman. I certainly understand that, so that's no problem with me. Listen, Georgia Tech, new coach. Okay, last year performed better than we thought. Honestly, yeah. This is the douchebag from last night. Yeah, nothing new. Tyler, go fuck yourself. How about that? You're a fucking loser. Bets like $20 a bet. Honestly, go fuck yourself. All right, moving on from that. Yeah, Georgia Tech. So listen, they got a new coach last year. They moved away from the option offense. Like, this is the straight triple option. Worked great. Didn't win a whole hell of a lot of games, but they got much better as the year went on. Much, much, much better. I expect them to be, significantly improved this year. How significantly? Well, I mean, their schedule this year is incredibly tough. So, we're seeing, UCF. That's not really great. They start at Florida State. Maybe you open the year with a win. Syracuse is going to be bad again this year. They suck. Louisville is going to be better. Clemson is going to be better. BC we're going to get into because they're an interesting one. Notre Dame, obviously they're not beating Notre Dame. Pitt, I think, is the best defensive line in maybe defensive football. Miami, we just kind of talked about them. Georgia Tech did beat Miami last year, to be fair, but I find that hard to believe with De'Ara King. They're going to score enough to do that. Duke is real bad this year, and NC State as well. So.
Yeah, I don't know. The only team, Notre Dame, is really the only thing that stands out to me besides Clemson. And I'm curious what BC can do. I'm just, Hafley comes in. They have the quarterback from Notre Dame who got no playing time, Jerkovich. I just think that I already saw, like, prognosticators already hate BC. Like, they're already like, nope. Yeah,
well, I mean, listen, their win total opened at 2.5. We're up to 4 already. Or actually, it opened at 1.5. Now I'm looking. Listen, BC is obviously going to have to revamp everything, their offense, everything like that. But they still return an elite offensive line, an elite defensive line. they're still going to be, having extremely good running games. I mean, I still think BC is going to be a pretty talented team this year. Maybe they might not be a 4 or 5 win team, but honestly, 1.5 games, they're going to win 2 games this year. That was kind of the opener there, and now we're up to 4. I think that's kind of getting dangerous. So,
All right, man. Well, like I said, if there's someone else, we always know Pitt always beats somebody. And some Syracuse will play like Clemson tight for one game. North Carolina will have a bunch of games that win on the final play of the game or something. You know what I mean? Like,
listen, Pitt is going to be really good this year, Joe. Their defense is really good. I know that they have a few guys who've opted out on the defensive line. They're still probably the best defensive line in the ACC this year. Now going to Pittsburgh and playing in Pittsburgh this year, which is always we've talked about it in the past few years. It's a death trap to try and play there. It's impossible this year, man. I mean, you really don't know what you're going to get going to there. It's obviously not going to be the same. The advantage is not the same, So it's like, how do we feel about actually playing on the road this year at a team like Pittsburgh? It's just the advantage there is whatever.
And dude, we didn't even mention this. Some places are going to have fans, some won't. And I think that's an advantage for Pitt, right? Like even Clemson, dude's an advantage for Clemson. If there's no fans in the stands, dude, I think a lot. And we know some of these guys, especially noontime games, these freshmen, they don't play as well early on. I think it's going to be like the first game we got last week, FCS, it came down to the final and whatever. Like it came down to the line.
Yeah, Central Arkansas ended up covering every single number.
So, I want to know tomorrow. I want to know what it looks like tomorrow. I want to watch a little bit. Like, the games I can watch on TV that favorable matchups, I think I might ride with them. But these teams that go on the road that I believe in, I'm going to watch them. Like, if Memphis goes on the road early, I want to just see what they look like. They got a good team, man, but I think some of their players opted out. But I want to know, how they play on the road. There are just some teams I want to know what they look like this year when they go. NC State's another one, right? Like in the ACC, they play well at home, but they don't play well. Louisville, I remember that first game against Notre Dame last year. They covered.
Scott Satterfield coming over from App State. That team was projected to win 2 or 3 games last year. They won 6.
Yep.
That team is going to be really good this year. I'm very high on Louisville. I expect them to do very well. I actually ended up getting a win total on them at 5.5. It's at 7 now. That was one of my early plays, for college football. I really, really like Louisville this year. And again, Joe, speaking about the matchup tomorrow night, and we can kind of discuss that if you want, or we can kind of get into it a little bit further. Southern Alabama, Southern Miss. We can get a little bit deeper into the ACC before we get into that. So here's my general ACC thoughts. Okay. I'll just go down team by team because obviously we don't want to spend 2.5 hours breaking down every team and everything. BC is going to be underrated by the analysts. I think there's going to be some spots where you're going to find some value on them. But in general, they need to rebuild a lot of that team. Obviously, they brought over the defense coordinator from Ohio State, who was the co-defensive coordinator for a year, I think, not even, less than 2 years. I know that. So we're going to see how they do. I'm not super high on BC, but I still think they're going to win a few games. Clemson is, to me, obviously the best team in the conference. They might lose a game here or there. But man, they are really, really good. Florida State, in my opinion, is overrated as per usual. Terrible offensive line, nothing different that we've seen, Joe. Obviously, new coach, new system, new quarterback. What we're going to see with Florida State is going to be a lot different. I think that there's going to be a lot of turnover there. So, I think that they're going to be underwhelming compared to what most people think. Georgia Tech is, kind of talked about them already. I think that they'll probably take a small leap forward. Louisville, super high on.
Excuse me. I think Georgia Tech has the new coach, right? They're not going to be running the option anymore, from what I gather.
Right. So that was last year. So
Last year, yeah.
right. So they should take a small step forward in year 2. Louisville, super high on this year. Scott Satterfield can coach the shit out of guys, and they now have their starting quarterback will be in the system for the second year. They should be a really good team. Miami is again one of those teams. They have really high profile. Manny Diaz probably coaching for his job with the quarterback De'Aaron King, but I don't know how high I am on them. NC State, they're going to be on the lower end, Joe.
Give me Duke. What do you think about Duke?
I think Duke's going to suck. Now listen, the coach has been there forever.
They had that dual threat quarterback. I know he wasn't Daniel Jones or anything like that, but
so their win total opened up at 1.5 this year, Joe.
Wow.
So, yeah, low. Again, these are just conference win totals, so real low end. I think they'll probably win 2 or 3 games. I probably would have gone over in that, but they have a good defense. Their offense is going to require a lot of work. Quarterback is a work in progress. Their offense is going to require a lot of work early on. So I think we're going to struggle to see that, Joe. Obviously, Notre Dame adding to the conference really hurts all these, upper echelon, but not quite elite teams because they're pretty much adding an automatic loss to their schedule. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Notre Dame is real tough. And then the other team, the other team is North Carolina. North Carolina is going to be the darling of the ACC.
I liked them last year. Right, I liked them last year.
If you think about all their losses last year, and I'll see if I pull up their schedule, they played every single game tough. Every single game.
I bet them second half. I don't know what 6 weeks. It was Clemson and it was North Carolina. Clemson ended up running its whole role until the final game of the year against LSU. I had to fade that. I think it was 7 weeks in a row. Clemson hit second half, and then there was a run where North Carolina was like 5-6 in a row, and it just worked. It was just like I went to the Who concert one night. And it was like, I think it was like Wake Forest versus North Carolina. And I had Wake Forest in the game, and I'm like, shit, I might have to take North Carolina second half. They covered. Somehow Wake Forest won the game. but the North Carolina second half hit, and somehow I hit both bets. But I hedged because I thought I was worried. But yeah, I think they hit 5 or 6 in a row second half last year.
Yeah, no, I mean, not only that, but just every single game they were in, they beat South Carolina, beat Miami. They lost to Wake Forest by 6. To be fair, that was not a good one. Then we picked App State to upset them, and App State ended up winning the game on a blocked field goal. They blocked that. Then the next week they played Clemson, and they went for 2 and lost that game 21-20. But I mean, if they don't go for 2, we're going to overtime. We're going to see what happens. They crushed Georgia Tech. Lost to Virginia Tech in 6 overtimes by 2 on the 2-point conversion. Beat Duke. Lost Virginia by a touchdown, which was not great. Lost to Pitt in overtime. Beat Mercer, whatever. Absolutely dominating Temple in the bowl and crushed NC State. So, I mean, really, their losses were an overtime game. Virginia by 7 with Bryce Perkins. Lost by 2 to Virginia Tech in 6 overtimes. Lost by Clemson by 1 by going for it, and lost to Wake Forest early in the year. I mean, pretty good.
Yeah. No, that means fade material. They're going to be a lot of love for North Carolina this year, bumping up some of those spreads.
I strongly disagree with you. I think that they're going to be undervalued again because it's North Carolina. They're not a football school. They're a basketball school. We always kind of think that. Mm. And I'm actually very, very high in North Carolina this year. I have them getting 7-8 wins. I think they potentially have the chance to be in the ACC championship over Notre Dame.
Mm. See, like a team, not in the ACC, but that's like that. Is UCF, right? They're always like high scoring team, but they give up points, and there's always some like deadline they give you, like -5 second half or -18. You know what I mean? They always give you a deadline with UCF, and sometimes it's like, oh, they got lucky to cover I just feel like maybe this year could be. Hey, I just want to answer this dude fucking Tyler real quick. All right, dude. I don't want your fucking chirping on our show. Like, if you want to be a dick to Dan, fade his fucking picks if you think he sucks so bad and brag about it. Like, put up your fucking $10 bets, and if Dan loses, hey, I won my fucking money because I faded Dan. I don't want your fucking chirping. I don't want anyone's fucking chirping. Like, we can't win every bet. How many other people are talking gambling in the fucking area and putting their balls out there on a pick? If we fucking lose, we take our L's. Like, we take them. Hey, I bet the Raptors last night. I lost. Fuck. I can't win every fucking game. I can't win. So, like, dude, just stop fucking chirping. Like, what, is it cool to chirp? This isn't fucking high school, man. I'm a fucking almost 40-year-old man. I don't need you fucking chirping. Like, dude, just cut the shit. Make a fucking Twitter handle that fades live shots if it's that case. Because I'll tell you, in the long run, you're gonna fucking lose. But it's just like it's annoying as fuck. It's really right. I mean, am I fucking wrong here? I don't want to be a dick and block you, but like, fucking get over it, people. If you don't like us, fade our asses. I don't know what else to say. That's why I write fade or follow. If you don't like my pick, fucking fade it. If you win, brag all about it. I don't care. Just cut the shit. It's fucking annoying me. I'm trying to watch a basketball game and trying to talk football, and you're pissing me the fuck off. All right, Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing. He got mad because I bet the Toronto Raptors last night. Like, honestly, dude, you got to grow the fuck up. And not to mention the fact that this kid has been asking me for plays for a fucking year. A year. This kid DMs me, asks me for plays, asks me for advice. Oh, wow. Oh, man, I'm a Celtics fan. How could you possibly bet against your team? Dude, shut the fuck up.
It's not that. It's just like, dude, like, Dan, I could ignore everybody. I really can. I could fucking ignore you all, and I don't care. But I like your interactions. I like the people that we have. I like the people that we have on the show. And it's fine. Oh, hey, how'd your bet go tonight? Yeah, we fucking lost. Like, come on. Like, get over it. We're fucking grown people. Let's get back up on the horse and win that shit tomorrow. Like, that's the Dan. When we lose a game, dude, how many times have you said to me, man, I had a bad night, I'm done for the week, and the next day you go out there and have a fucking 7-3 day or a fucking 9-1 day? It happens every single week with us. Almost every fucking day. Like, it's just, come on. This is gambling. We're literally gambling whether we win or we lose. Like, we're putting our fucking, like, everything on the line. If you don't, like, I don't know, man. We're sticking our balls out there, and you got to fucking chirp us like dickheads. Do your own fucking podcast. Make your own fucking bets then. Like, if that's what it is, like, I'm not easily rattled. It's just you fucking annoy me. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
What else do we have? Fuck this guy. Let's go on.
Yeah, I mean, we're documenting.
We lose. But you're right. You lose every week. Fucking, where are your picks? Let's see your fucking stats. Let's see your fucking stats. Get off my ass and Dan's ass. Fucking start putting your shit up.
I wouldn't even worry about this kid. He bets like $10 a game, so he's a little bitch. It's fine. I'm gonna
let you call in. Where the fuck are you gonna call in, buddy? We're doing a podcast. Like, stop being a fucking douche. You're being a fucking internet douche right now.
All right, we're gonna move on because fuck this kid. Who cares? I'm not gonna let him interrupt a college football podcast because he wants to be a little 12-year-old kid and ruin the comments. Have fun, enjoy. If you're that immature, you want to do that, man, dude. I feel bad for you. Go out there and get some fucking box or some shit. Jesus Christ. All right, moving on. Okay, so let's move on from the ACC. Basically, we kind of talked about everything. I like Pittsburgh as well. Low on Syracuse this year, low on Virginia. Replacing Bryce Perkins is going to be tough. Hendon Hooker with Virginia Tech, I think they're going to be pretty good this year, honestly. Second year of Hendon Hooker. He was a pretty good starter last year. We'll see what they can do with the full year, obviously losing their coach. But, Bud Black, they should get up, to play at least hopefully offensively, maybe not defensively. And Wake Forest, I mean, Wake Forest is there's a lot to break down
without
there.
Newman. I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah. It's real hard to back them, in my opinion, for Wake Forest. So, all right, we want to move on to the Big 12 because again, we can start looking at the other conferences, but I think we should move on. We've spent too much time on the ACC. Big 12, Joe. I want to start off. There's less teams. I want to start off with Baylor. Matt Rule goes to Carolina. They lose Denzel Mims in the draft to the New York Jets, obviously. A lot of losses on that team. New coach, same quarterback, new system. Their win total currently as it stands today is 6. So let me give you a PP because I know everyone. We
you listening? Hey, this is a live show, and we give live PPs.
There you go. So Baylor football under 6 wins this year. Under. I'm real low on this team, unfortunately. Now, to start off the year, they might look good. Their first 2 games are La Tech and Kansas. All right, and they're both in Waco, which means that they're probably going to start 2-0. Now, Kansas with, Les Miles, you never know what that guy can kind of pull out of his ass. It wouldn't shock me if, Les Miles has his team ready to play. Kansas, almost beat Texas last year, if you remember correctly. Kansas is maybe a half-decent program this year. We'll see what happens, but, I expect them to beat them. West Virginia, Morgantown. We don't know what that's going to be like. Morgantown without fans is interesting. After that, they run the gauntlet. Oklahoma State, probably the best team in the conference, okay? At Texas, home versus TCU, who does not have Max Duggan now, who was their quarterback down the stretch, but still nonetheless a very talented team. I'll take TCU in that one. At Iowa State and Ames, which is going to have, I think, some fans, maybe not some fans. We saw some reports today. At Texas Tech and Lubbock, which means – they might win that one, but Texas Tech, man, if Alan Bowman plays well there, Texas Tech will be okay. Kansas State, who is way better than Baylor, and Oklahoma. So I think at best you're looking at La Tech, Kansas, West Virginia, maybe one of TCU and Iowa State and Texas Tech. I think at absolute best, you're looking at 5 wins. They're at 6 under. Give me the under in Baylor this year.
Well, Matt Rule's not there. Is that quarterback coming back? All that kid did was run. He was decent, though. They don't have no more Mims anymore. Yeah, that might be a good play, Dan. It's the only thing with me for that one is they're a team that was so bad like the years before that they actually were up last year. Do they really hit rock bottom without Matt Rule like in 1 year?
It's a lot to put in place in a year like this when your quarterback has to go back to learning a system. And I don't know if you guys remember, but the Baylor quarterback, who I'm blanking on his last name, Charlie Brewer, I think. Charlie Brewer the third.
Oh, yeah, Charlie Brewer.
I think that's it. Am I right? Okay, Charlie Brewer. Okay. Brewer was really, really good at the beginning of the year. Faded hard down the stretch. Like he got significantly figured out once there was some tape on him. I think that Baylor is being super hyped because of how good they were last year, but without Rule, man, their wide receivers take a massive hit without Mims, who was their massive playmaker. And their schedule is brutal. I mean, Oklahoma State, and we'll get it to them, best team in the conference, in my opinion. Spencer Sanders, obviously Chuba Hubbard, their offense is dynamic. They're elite. At Texas, which is not a fun game. TCU, who, again, Max Duggan out. We don't know how long. So they have a chance to beat TCU, but I don't feel good that they're going to beat TCU and Iowa State back-to-back. They're going to lose one of those. Not to mention they play Iowa State, Texas Tech on the road back-to-back, Joe. We talked about this many a time last year.
Iowa State, great home team along with Texas, really. For that
Not to mention that, but back-to-back on the road. How did Power 5 teams do last year back-to-back on the road? I can tell you, 27% straight up. They were better against the spread, 43%, but 27% straight up on the second game of a back-to-back last year. So Texas at Lubbock, Texas Tech is going to be tough for them. Kansas State significantly improved. I'm very high in Kansas State. And at Oklahoma to finish the year. They have to run through probably the best teams in the entire conference in a row. There's no break after that West Virginia game. So, and even West Virginia is at Morgantown. I don't see them winning 6 games. I think they might start really nicely early, but after that, it's the gauntlet, dude. I mean, straight up, they don't get a break at all outside. They get a break going into Oklahoma State, but outside of that, I think they get a break going into Kansas State too. But their schedule is real fucking hard for them, real hard.
What else you got in the Big 12 this year?
All right, so Iowa State, obviously with the loss of their home schedule. I think this is going to be a team that it's going to be really, really hard to decipher, really. I don't know what is going to happen with them. I don't know if they are going to continue with Brock Purdy and be a good team, and continue to win and be a top 25 team, as they were at times last year, or if they're going to start to regress without Ames. And, we're not going to see the Iowa State that, maybe we would have seen in other years because of, how much better the conference has gotten. Obviously, Oklahoma, new quarterback, because obviously, Jalen Hurts is there. So they're starting Spencer Rattler, so I mean, maybe they'll be able to put up, some tough teams at home. I do worry about Iowa State in total.
Ooh, all right. Their offense is back, dude. Like, yeah, Purdy's a question mark, but I think he's solid. He's solid. Yeah.
definitely.
And they went 7-6. I think that was disappointing last year. Do you know that they lost 4 games by a total of 11 points last year?
I do. Yeah.
So Matt Campbell, I think, is a pretty good coach there, but they bring back Breece Hall, who was their running back, and their tight end's like one of the best in the country. So, like, the way I look at it, they have a pretty good returning offense there. They should be good, but you're looking at that schedule, they'll be TCU, they should beat Oklahoma. I mean, Texas Tech, I don't know. Oklahoma State's tough. At Oklahoma State, it's always tough. Kansas is on the rise, dude. Now, I don't Iowa State should lose to them. Baylor, they should win. Kansas State, they should win. Texas, as you mentioned. Virginia, I see 3 losses on this team.
I disagree with you on the Kansas State game. Honestly, I think Kansas State is a significantly more talented football team than Iowa State is. Now, the game is in Ames, so that may change some things. But again, their out of conference game, Joe, is against Louisiana Raging Cajuns ULL, who we know Louisiana Lafayette last year was really good, and we talked about how everything was last year. So I don't know. I'm lower on them than before. Now they end the year with West Virginia, so I think that's a win. I'll give them Kansas, even though it's in Lawrence. I'll give them Texas Tech because it's at home. I'll give them the Raging Cajuns. I'll even give them TCU. That's 5. Do you see? I don't see any other wins on that schedule, dude. I just don't. I mean, no matter how good Brock Purdy and the rest of that team is, I think without fans, is it super hard to go into Ames and play? Because that was one of the biggest home field advantages in the Big 12.
Yeah, like I remember it was Iowa State. That won't happen this year.
Right.
But I think that was one of those games that was they're an under team. Like, and I know their offense is playing better. Their running back's good, man. I like that team. But Big 12's Oklahoma, right? I mean, were we even joking here? Like, who else is coming out of the Big 12 this year?
Well, I think Oklahoma State and Texas are the other 2 main contenders. I would expect TCU.
Who's taking over at Texas now?
So Texas, Spencer Rattler is taking the quarterback reins there. Sorry for Oklahoma. For Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler is taking the quarterback reins there. Texas is still rolling with their quarterback, dude.
Well, who's the coach?
The coach for Texas is still Herman.
Oh, Herman, that's right. I remember Charlie. I'm still burned by Charlie Strong in my brain. Like those.
Yes.
No. Herman had a good year. There's that Texas team. I don't understand them. So talented. They play up to their competition and don't play down to the other.
They play down. Remember, do you remember the Kansas game last year? They needed a 50-yard field goal at home to beat Kansas. And we should get into Kansas too because
they're on the rise, man.
Their win total was 1. Their win total was 1.
They beat BC last year.
They have Coastal Carolina on the schedule. They didn't beat BC, Joe. They fucking dominated. I think they were up by like 24.
That was like a Thursday night football. I remember going to the bar and watching that one.
Yeah, and you had BC in that one. I won't forget.
I couldn't believe it.
And you were like, how the fuck is Kansas? Well, I'm telling you, Les Miles is, again, they're a little bit ways off, but.
I love Les Miles. I'll always back Les Miles. If it's like Les Miles versus Chuck Norris, I'll put my money on Les Miles at times. It's like I love that guy. He's always in the fight, that guy.
Yeah, so I think Kansas is.
Chuck Norris would win, but he's in the fight.
Kansas is going to upset some people this year. Okay, they're going to play spoiler. They're going to get a win or two that they shouldn't. That's what they do. Kansas State to me is the team. Kansas State and TCU are the teams to me that are no one are really talking about, and those are the teams I expect to really, come out of nowhere. Now, to be fair, TCU lost Max Duggan. We talked about Duggan multiple times on the podcast last year, and Duggan, in my opinion, was really, really talented. Helped TCU beat Texas. Remember that game you wanted to so badly bet on Texas? That was the TCU game.
And how about the Rockets the other night too? The Houston Rockets, which we'll get to at some point, is the Texas this year. I mean, same state, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Absolutely. They are your Texas this year. But TCU ended up winning that game. And we were happy that we didn't go on Texas, but I think that Max Duggan and TCU have something. But we're gonna
that game. That TCU, oh God, that game. Oh, that would hurt.
It did, but Duggan is out this year. Duggan is out. He has some sort of disease. I don't exactly know the clarity of it, but I don't know if he's going to play. My guess is he probably will not, play for the entire year. Which means, I don't know how good they're going to be. Jesus, Miami cannot stop hitting threes on this team. Jay Crowder just hit another three. Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler's taking over a quarterback. They're always talented. We know what Lincoln Riley does as a coach. We know how good he is with quarterbacks. He's essentially a quarterback whisperer in my mind. Okay, I really like Lincoln Riley. I like Oklahoma. They should be very good again this year. But my pick to come out of the Big 12 is Oklahoma State. we talked about how high I was in Oklahoma State last year. They hit their win total, which I had last year. But man, they're better this year. They're better. They have another year in the system. Chubba Hubbard returned. Man.
Does he? Is he? I mean, I don't know. Last time I checked, there was an issue there with
him and his coach worked it out. That's long gone. Talent-wise, they are the best team in the Big 12. It's not Texas. It's not Oklahoma. It's Oklahoma State. I think that Oklahoma State is going to be in the Big 12 championship at minimum.
All right,
minimum.
So here's the deal. I'm not against any of your takes, and I'm not like going against anything. But like, I'm one of those guys where I just look at it and I say, who's going to beat Oklahoma? And I just can't. I want it to be Oklahoma State. Dan, if Texas came back, you know how good that is for college football. Like, do you know? Texas being in a big game is great for college football. Texas and Oklahoma State, I can't put my money on.
Okay.
To win it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just.
I get it.
Maybe this COVID year, it's a TCU. You just heard me. I always fade them, right? Look what they do. They somehow beat my ass, and Jalen Rager goes in the first round. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm like that old school college guy that's like, nah, show me something. But this is a different year, man, and who knows, right? I mean, you gotta take a few long shots here and there.
Don't forget that Kenneth Murray has gone from Oklahoma too. Okay, he was a high draft pick. Now again, Oklahoma gets a nice start to the year. They get to face 1-11 Bobby Petrino-led Missouri State. Okay, so they're going to absolutely.
Bobby P's back.
Bobby P is coaching Missouri State. They're going to kick the living shit out of that.
Wow, he goes from the NFL Falcons to who?
Missouri State.
And did he go back to Louisville? Oh no, that's right.
No, he did not go back to Louisville. But. So, anyways, Missouri State they're good. Kansas State, here's Oklahoma's schedule. Open Missouri State, home versus Kansas State, at Ames versus Iowa State, home versus neutral versus Texas in the Red River Shootout, not the Red River Rivalry. Fuck your bullshit. I want to be politically correct. Red River Shootout. Then on the road at TCU. Yeah, here's the thing, Joe. Road TCU game. Next game, on the road to Texas Tech. Back-to-back road games. Now, it's going to be different this year because obviously home crowds are very different. But nonetheless, still have to say that. Kansas, then they face Kansas at home, win. They get Oklahoma State in Norman, on the road at West Virginia, Morgantown, and finish up at home Baylor. So the Big 12 did Oklahoma a big solid in the scheduling department because Their schedule is beautiful. Outside of the one back-to-back, which is TCU and then Texas Tech, I would not be shocked, Joe, if they lose the TCU or they lose to Kansas State. Just saying, would not be shocked if they lost either one of those games, Kansas State or TCU. I suspect that Kansas State game, September 26th, is going to be like a 14.5-point spread, and you bet your sweet ass we're all going to be on Kansas State, or at least I'm going to put it out there, because Kansas State to me is underrated, and I think that they are going to give Spencer Rattler, who really has not won a faced a real D1 opponent yet outside of Missouri State, all he can handle. So I'm gonna say I'm probably gonna end up going Kansas State there, depending on the circumstances.
All right, for the 45 people that are watching, let's take a break for a minute here. The halftime score of the Bucks and Heat right now, 66-60. Now, Dan, if you think Milwaukee's going to win this game, you can get them right now at -5 second half. The total's at 110.5. We're at 126, so you're already over the total if you get 100 points. So this thing's already aiming at going over. I'm going to lay off the second half total just for the simple fact that I think it can still go over 110 just based off the play. I do think things slow down a little bit. Here's the deal. Do you think the Heat win the game or the Bucks? That's your bet. To me, that's your easiest bet. And to me, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Milwaukee comes back and wins this, but I wasn't involved. We kind of just, watching here. But if I'm looking at a line, okay, I think Milwaukee comes back and wins this game. But is this Vegas, sticking a carrot out there for me right now that like I might follow the carrot down the wrong hole?
I think if you're gonna play a line, I would look at Milwaukee third quarter. Okay, the third quarter there is -2.5. I would lean Milwaukee -2.5 if you're gonna look at a second half play. In my opinion, to me, it's an under second half. I would lean under. I think you're going to see a much more defensive game. Miami, if they want to win this game, has to play better defensively in the second half. There's no questions about that. And I haven't taken a look at the free throws yet, the old free throw disparity. But my buddy Dan Smith over here checking in, he tells me to take a look at that. I would not be shocked. 21 free throws for the Bucks.
Holy shit.
11 for Miami. You know what that means? The refs are trying to will Miami to a win in this game. Miami's sorry, Milwaukee.
Miami hit 9 first half threes.
They did. So you're going to have to expect some regression from Miami from the amount of threes that they hit. You're going to shooting 40% from three. You're going to have to expect some regression there. Have to expect some regression at 55% shooting from the field for Miami. 5
fast break points for Milwaukee. That's gonna change.
Yep. You're gonna have to expect that the refs are gonna continue to call fouls for Milwaukee. I'd lean Milwaukee. Now the line tells me the fact that it's -5 and not -7, Joe, tells me
that's exactly it. That's 5's a dead number.
Yep.
It's a dead number.
Yep.
And now it went up to -115 Milwaukee.
It leans to me Miami. The second half line says, I lean Miami. I do.
Wow.
That's what it says to me. I don't know about you. Now, if I'm looking at something, I'm looking at the second half under or the third quarter for the Bucks.
Dan, the line went to -7 Bucks.
Okay, so there you go. But again, the opening number to me matters more than where the movement goes. You're going to get everyone and their mother on the Bucks because if they go down 0-2, you're going to see the Celtics and the Heat up 0-2 in the NBA playoffs. Woo! I don't think the NBA is going to love that. They want long second-round series. They haven't even started the Lakers series or the Clippers series yet. They need some long series.
And we haven't even gotten Game 7 yet tonight. All right. I like this. So it's now back down to 6.5. People are betting all over this one, man. They're all over this one. I think the under is the right side. I'm laying off. But dude, does Miami win 2 in a row?
I see 6 right now. That's the line, by the way.
Yeah, I get 6 at my book. I'm hitting refresh, but it's not refreshing. Does Miami win this game? I mean, can Goran Dragic continue this? I mean, let's just look at the box score. What's Giannis have? Giannis has 10 first half points, so he's going to get another 20 in there. Butler's been quiet at 8 points. He's going to turn it on. But Dragic is everything right now for Miami. Now, the bench of Milwaukee's giving you George Hill. Connaughton hit a 3, but you probably won't see him again. And then Marvin Williams played 14 minutes and gave you 2 points. So between Middleton and Bledsoe, and I guess if you want to look at Brook Lopez's 9 points, they're playing a better team game tonight. The Bucks.
That does not seem to matter.
Yeah, I think Giannis needs to be the guy.
Yep, and I think that, again, the refs are going to have to call a lot of free throws for Milwaukee. Again, the reason that Milwaukee is in this game right now is because they have 10 more free throws than Miami. 10. Other than that, it's a 16-point game if we're evening out the free throws. And again, obviously, that's not how you do it. But again, Milwaukee probably should not have 10 more free throws. I would expect Miami's three-point percentage, to come down a little bit from 40. So, maybe a 35. So, maybe instead of 9 threes, you're hitting 8. I don't know, man. I feel like Miami probably is going to hold on for this one. I wouldn't touch anything except for I'd lean the second half under. That would be my play in this one. If I was going to play that second half under, maybe the Bucks third quarter. I expect you would see something like the Toronto game yesterday the Celtics game yesterday, where Toronto came out big in the third quarter and then faded down the stretch. Would not surprise me if we saw something similar. So that's what I would say, Joe. I don't think there's anything really bettable unless you really want to get off your Milwaukee play. You got like Milwaukee, if you got a Milwaukee money line play, I guess you can get off of that if you want to, but I don't know. That would be the way I look at it. All right. You want to get back to
Yeah. And while we're at it, I mean, do you at least want to look at the Rockets game tonight and then we'll get back to it?
Sure. Yeah, we can take
You heard about this China angle, right?
I did.
Do you buy? I don't buy anything into that.
I think it definitely gives some clarity and some levity to that. The fact that, the NBA losing a market like China would be really, really bad for a whole round, especially when it comes to LeBron, right? You really don't want, losing LeBron, in one of your prominent teams, China. That being said, you're probably going to get more viewership illegally in China with LeBron than you would legally with Chris Paul. With LeBron and James Harden than you would with LeBron and Chris Paul. My guess is that the NBA probably wants Houston to roll on the series and move on. I have no interest in this game.
That's what I think.
Now, Joe, I did the number. The DraftKings minute yesterday. And I said my play would be the under in the Rockets game. And I basically said the number's been opening at 225, 226 the whole series. 219.5, probably where it should be. And outside of the OT game, you're looking at a 4-2 under. I'd go under again, especially with the fact that it's game 7. Defense obviously intensifies in Game 7, as we saw last night, if you watched the Nuggets and Jazz at all. But the fact that, got down to 215 today, it's back up to 217 now. That's too little. I think even at 217, it's kind of hard to bet. Maybe a small underplay, but man, this is going to be a real hard one to bet for me, Joe. Now, the Thunder were 5.5 earlier. They're down to 5. That one's kind of bouncing all around. The total now is sitting at 216.5. I think it's unbettable. I would wait for a second half line. That's me.
I think the Rockets win, but you might be right. I think it's better to, if you like, but they've been so bad second half. They've been so inconsistent. Excuse me. Oh, it's been so inconsistent for them. This second half line, dude. You know how people are like, hey, what do you got for a second half? This one's cringe, dude. I don't know where to go with it. It's back up to 7.
It's back up to 7.
And now 111, Dan. 111. So they're trying to get people on that over.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about it for a second. If you think it's the Bucks, right? Does it go over?
Yes. You're gonna if you I would say the correlation is Milwaukee and over. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you see that Adams rebound? What do you think about these individual props? The Murray and Mitchell ones have gone off, except for last night with Murray. But people, this guy's saying that the Adams rebound prop has been hitting every game. I don't know what's it tonight.
So I actually put out a play on that. It's 11.5. I got it at plus 145, Joe. Okay. Mm-hmm. It has gone over in every game except for one. The Adams rebound prop. You remember we talked about that last week, and I said, Adams is going to get a shitload of rebounds. Just hit the prop over. So right now it's 5 of 6. I'm playing it again because of the fact that I consistently feel like if you play something like this over a 7-game sample, you're going to win more than you lose. But the fact that it opened 11.5 plus 145 is absolutely concerning to me. Absolutely. So I am a little scared. But I would continue to play the player prop, especially because Adam is probably going to get, he's going to be right around that number again. He always is, especially with this team. He probably gets like 4 or 5 or 6 in a few minutes. And now the 11.5 is now down to plus 110. But I can tell you it opened at plus 145. And so, yeah, I did give that out earlier. So hopefully, that's the case. By the way, Adam Duvall from the Braves just hit a 2-run dong. So the Red Sox are up 3-2. That the pitchers pitching for the Red Sox tonight are you want to talk about cringe?
Dude, I couldn't even believe it. Kickham was his name.
Kickham.
Isn't that kind of funny? We talked about this today. I think I saw it on your Twitter. He hasn't pitched since 2014 or something like that.
Yep, he has not gotten a single out. Okay, the guy who opened for the Red Sox, I'll try and get his name here because I do not know it off the top of my head. Robin Layer. He pitched 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 Ks. Right, got out of the inning. Right, Kickham comes in top of the second, 3 hits, 2 runs. That has not recorded a single fucking out. Kickham is brutal. So, So anyway, so the total. If you're asking about the total at 218 in the Rockets game, I think 218 is high enough to play it under there. Yes,
yeah, and it's what I haven't seen it in a bit. 215
So it was 219 and a half yesterday. Got down to 215 and a half this morning. It's been going around between 216 and 217 and a half. 218 is the number from A to me.
217 right now at the old local right now.
Yeah.
So the second half's beginning. I think we kind of lean under, Dan, but we're not. We'll see. We didn't give out a pick, but let's see what happens. We lean under based off of the trajectory of the game.
I lean under, and if it's 7, I mean, I do lean Milwaukee. At 5, I lean Miami. Yeah. I wouldn't touch it. I would not touch it.
I didn't touch it in the end, but I agree. Milwaukee in the under, and let's see what happens. I mean, hey, sometimes it's the bets you don't bet are sometimes the best ones, and I just like to be on the right side of it. And this is good discussion to have because this is what you do live, right? This is when we're trying to project games and look at them. Like, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't win them all. Some games do go into overtime, so that's why under sucks sometimes. But oh well, we'll take a little breather and that's it. So we'll get back to the college football stuff. I like how you're like Oklahoma State and you're down on Baylor and you still believe in the TCUs of the world because this is what keeps it going, right? This Big 12 conference. And then Texas, if they can, I'll say it again and again. If Texas is relevant, it is great for college football. It was great. I'll never forget that national championship, man. USC, Texas. We still talk about that game as one of the best we've ever seen there against USC. So, all right. So we've got the ACC out of the way. We got the Big 12.
Well, let's talk about Texas before we completely close the door on them because Texas is a really interesting team. There's a few, prominent guys in the business who think that Texas is a legitimate national champion contender, Joe,
Ooh.
and are picking them for legitimately winning the national championship this year. I don't feel that way. I think that they're going the other way. If anything, I think that they're going to take a step back from that, to be perfectly honest with you. And man, I know that they have Ellinger. I know that they're good. And again, let's be fair. Texas in the LSU game, and I'm sorry if I'm not looking at the screen because I am watching this Miami game. Texas in Ellinger almost beat LSU. Do you remember that, Joe? Remember that last year? I think it almost went. We either went into overtime or almost went into overtime. They almost beat LSU. It was either neutral site or in Texas. I'm going to say that, man, I think that Texas is going to have a tough football schedule this year, okay? They are. And I think that there's going to be times where you look at this team and you say, well, that's the Texas of old, But there are times you look at this team like Kansas last year, and now by the way, they're going to Kansas this year at Lawrence, so that's going to be interesting. But there are times I look at this team and say, I don't know. And they have to go to Stillwater, okay? They have to go to Lubbock. They have to go to Manhattan to play Kansas State. I don't love any of that. None of that. Literally zero of it. So I'm going to go out there and, say, in Miami is just launching up threes, and now their regression is really starting to kick in. I'm going to go out there and say that I think Texas is going to go under their win total. I'm not going to PP it or anything, but I'm not high in Texas this year. I'm really, really, really not. So that's going to be a big issue for me this year. If you want to take Texas on, is just don't see. My God, Milwaukee just doesn't look like the better team here. They just don't. And again, it's early in the third, but brutal. Miami's so good.
Yeah, they can't. If they're going to give up threes in transition, they're done.
No,
especially to Jay Crowder. Trying to think of what I'm looking here with Texas. If they can make the Big 12 championship game, I give them a shout. So, but if not,
so here's my and Giannis just picked up his fourth foul of the game on an offensive foul. So it's looking increasingly bad for Milwaukee. Here's my question to you, Joe. How do you think road games? How would you quantify a road advantage this year? Let's say it's.
I think it's
Lubbock
just travel.
Or
I think it's traveling. I think it's just travel in general, right? Because the bubble doesn't have that. The bubble doesn't have that. Maybe that's why we're seeing the Celtics play so well. I don't want to diminish anything the Celtics are doing or what the Heat are doing right now, but if they're in Milwaukee or on the road, it's a different story. Maybe, you know what I mean? So, and I'm not diminishing anything. It's reality. But if Shane Ellinger has to get up for a noon game in a Red River showdown, whatever you want to call it, shootout, it's tough for him to go on the road in the morning and do that. But it's also tough for the other quarterback to get up and do it in Texas. You know what I'm saying? Or go on a long ride from, you know what I mean? Or maybe there's like COVID restrictions where they have to like literally get on the bus that morning and put on their uniform and show up. Like, you fly in that night. Like, dude, that's going to be crazy shit. So, yeah, I think any type of travel this year whatsoever is home field for that team.
Yeah, I mean, how big do you make home field?
Ooh, I don't know if I do 3 points. Like, people just assume that, like in the NFL and everything like that. I don't assume that. I maybe in college football it's 1.5 points, maybe 2 points this year. That's really all I got at this point. I haven't really thought about it, but I don't know. I think home field, maybe a game, point and a half.
So that's actually how I've looked at it too. I'm going to give it a point and a half for travel, and make the concession that maybe there'll be some sort of fan advantage. I really don't know if that's going to be the case. If there's any sort of fan advantage there, it's really, really hard to figure out how you're going to value a road team this year. Is travel enough? Does talent now win out over road travel? Does talent win out over a home field advantage? How does talent play out compared to a road advantage? And I think it's going to be super, super fucking tough super tough to try and bet spots this year in college football. I'm telling you right now, Joe, you can't bet a team because they're a home team or road team this year. Can't do it. Impossible. We just can't do it. So,
and what happens if you can't go to like a college and the game needs to be played? Like, hey, that call got reversed. By the way, Giannis only has 3 fouls now.
Oh, so that is a defensive foul.
Hmm.
That's huge for the Bucks. Massive for the Bucks. Yeah. So I really, really, really don't know what to think. Yeah, I'm going to take the slow approach. Honestly, I'm going to try and take the slow approach. That being said, Joe, we've now diagnosed the Big 12. We now diagnosed the ACC. The SEC doesn't start for a few weeks. Okay. Do you want to save the SEC for another day?
Yeah, I think we should.
And we can also get into the independents and stuff later on. Now, again, I know some of those are starting this week. But that being said, I think that we should save the ACC for a better breakdown and kind of hold on. Now, we do have 4 games this weekend, Joe. 5 games, actually, if you include the FCS game. Okay? 2 tomorrow night, 3 Saturday. Tomorrow night, South Alabama, Southern Mississippi. Total opened at 13. We got bet up to 14, 14 and a half. We saw a few 15s. Okay? That is now 13 again. You have any thoughts on this game? I'll try and break it down. I did some look into in this game. So,
all right. I took a little look at it. I know the Golden Eagles are off. They win 7 wins last year. They won a bowl game. Arkansas State, I think, is 11-point underdog. What's the line right now?
This is South Alabama, Southern Miss.
Okay.
I think the line right now is 13.
Southern Miss has a powerful offense. To me, I think that their offense is good. Now, I think they lost their quarterback, Southern Miss.
Nope. Jack Abraham is returning this year.
He's back. Okay.
Yep.
You know what? It's their receiver, Quez Watkins, who I'm thinking went to the Eagles. Dude, their offense is good. I just, what does South Alabama have to bring to the table? I was kind of looking at it right now. They like this kid Desmond Trotter that they have at quarterback.
So he played really well at the end of last year, and they actually upset Arkansas State at the end of last year. I don't remember that, but that was a huge game.
Yeah, so far, I think Southern Miss is the better team and has the better offense, but I think they're going to start slow, man. I lean. What was the total? I lean under. What was the number again?
Right now the total is sitting at 53.5. Yep.
Well, I go under, but who wants to bet on it? Just like the first game we saw last week, it was slow starting. It was ugly football, dude. I see the same thing happening this week, which could keep the spread close, but I'm going under 53.5.
Okay, I actually like the over. I'll tell you why. To me, Trotter is, I think, a year in the system, got some good experience last year, right? I actually think that Southern Alabama is going to be better than we're actually giving them credit for, because we know how bad they have been in the past few years. Now, Steve Campbell's their head coach. Their offense last year was putrid until Trotter came in, and they were 114th in the country. Okay, putrid offense. Defense was average, 78, so below average. Nonetheless, they're okay. I'd say that they're a pretty bad team. Okay. Southern Miss, 63rd in the country last year in offense, 36 in defense. They were returning a lot of starters, but they lost a ton of guys on that defensive line. And I really like Jack Abraham. I really do. I just think that South Alabama and Trotter will play them close. I think it's going to be a close game. If you can find a 14 or a 14.5 on South Alabama, I would hit that. I got a 14.5. I played it. I feel pretty confident about saying that I like Southern Alabama in this game. But again, I would go super small because it's the beginning of the year. And again, road game, we don't really know what's going to happen. I will say that there was a big sharp syndicate that gave out Southern Alabama today too. That's why the line moved from 15 to 13 in most places. So yeah, Saturday, Joe. Now this is the game you were talking about. Arkansas State takes on Memphis. We'll skip the FCS game by now because I haven't looked into it. But Arkansas State takes on Memphis. Memphis are 19-point favorites on the road. Sorry, at home. The total is 74.
So I already know that Memphis running back opted out this year.
Yep.
And dude, I'm a huge fan of Memphis. I've bet on them a ton, but they're gonna have a new coach this year, so obviously we know about the expectations for that team. Ryan Silverfield will be the new quarterback. Their coach went to Florida State, I believe, right?
For Memphis, I thought it was Brady White.
No, he's the quarterback, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's still. Is he there, or did he get drafted?
Brady White is the grad transfer to Memphis. He's starting for them.
Yeah. I mean, he's dude. The Memphis offense is really good, like really good. And again, I know they're going to be without their running back this year. I think they repeat as AAC champs. You know, it's about covering this year. Their defense had some really bad issues last year, man. Like they'd have these huge leads, and then late in games they would have issues. White, and I believe it's Coxey is their other player that they had. I forgot what was the running. Oh, Kenneth, was it Gainwell? Yeah, Gainwell's the kid that opted out. But dude, like White passed for 4,000 yards last year and 33 touchdowns. But they are they are loaded at guys who can play multiple positions. Like their wide receiver can play running back. And I believe Coxey is the big guy that they had. He's back. So I think he's going to do damage on this team this year. But they only have 3 returning offensive linemen. They do have their tight end back as well, but you know, I think Memphis will be really good. I think they'll be high powered, and I think White is going to be a college prospect, like maybe 4th pick or something to that degree. He kind of reminds me of a Dak Prescott type. But Memphis, I think they're going to win the AAC this year. But when it comes to covering spreads, they'll be right on the number, and it comes down to defensive play. And I've watched it so many times where, you know, if they don't make that play, man, they don't cover. So 19 sounds like a lot to me, but they are at home and they have a lot of expectations. And their quarterback, man, he needs to put up big numbers this year and could be in the Heisman conversation.
Yeah, so Arkansas State, I'll give you a little bit of that. Logan Bonner and Lane Hatcher are going to be splitting time for Arkansas State. They lost their quarterback, so they're on to 2 new guys. Logan Bonner has some playing time, more experience. I think he's a redshirt junior, if I remember correctly. Lane Hatcher also going to be getting some playing time too, it sounds like, in game 1. I think both these guys are going to be interesting. Memphis is going to roll. So if you're looking for a potential play, maybe not spread, maybe Memphis team total at 46.5, which is a lot. The fact that it's 46.5, Joe, scares me a little bit. It feels like the hook. It feels like they're almost expecting Memphis to score 46 and not get 46.5 because of that freaking hook. And they're only giving Arkansas State 27. Just a weird, team total there. The hook does scare me on Memphis. If you can find a 46, I might consider taking the 46.5. The 46, honestly, in my opinion. So that's the way I would go. In terms of, by the way, I don't know if you just saw that play, but somehow Jimmy Butler just got a technical on an offensive drive.
Dude. we're trying to break down Memphis and Arkansas State, and Jimmy Butler throwing his body around.
The reps are trying. That's for damn sure. There's no question about that. Here's what I'll say about this one. Okay, go low if you're looking to bet, but man, I do think this one is going to go over. I think Arkansas State continues their role from last year. They're still very talented offensively. I would lean Ark State.
All right. What else do we have this week? Is Iowa State playing this week?
4:30. SMU takes on your favorite team, Joe, Texas State. Texas State sounds like they're going with a new quarterback, Brady McBride, who, Tyler Vitt was the guy last year for their team. I don't know if Vitt's going to be starting again this year. It sounds like it will not be Vitt. It sounds like it's going to be Brady McBride for Texas State. However, SMU is returning Shane Buechele. He was awesome last
Oh,
year.
Shane Boucher from Texas. Yeah.
Yes, he was awesome last year. He was. There we go. Milwaukee's finally starting to get into it. The refs are helping them. Shane Buechele, he was awesome last year. I expect him to repeat and be awesome this year. Texas State is a gargantuan mess. So how about this, Joe? Here's a little fun one for you. PP SMU. Okay, SMU first half team total over 24.
Well, last year's game, 47-17, SMU rolled. They had 600 yards of offense in this game, SMU.
Yep. I also would look at the 11.5 point spread because actually, you know what? Cancel that PP. We're going to go SMU minus 11.5. They're both on the border for me. They're both right there. I feel a little bit better about the 11.5 than I do the 24, but I feel, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do both.
All
PP, team total over 24 and SMU minus 11.5 first half.
I like SMU minus 22, but here's what scares me. Let's say it's 41-20. That would hurt.
Yeah, it does feel like this is the potential for backdoor, which is why I want to stay away from full game.
Like a 40.
I would not be shocked.
Like it's 48-28 with a minute to go, and then they just punch one in.
Would you be shocked? Would you be shocked if they win by 21 in this one? Like there's some sort of backdoor here.
No.
I don't want to talk.
Listen, SMU is putting up 40 points. It's just, is it going to be 48 or 41 or 40? You know what I mean? Are they going to give up 17 or is it going to be 20 or 28? You know what I mean?
Their team total. Yeah, their team total is 46.5. I'm going to say they pulled Buechele late in the third quarter. So again, that's why I'm going first half here. I'm going to PP both of them. SMU minus 11.5 and over 24 team total. Okay. I'm going to go both of those. I do think that they're going to hit both of them, at least push the 24. I think they're absolutely going to cover the 11.5 first half. I like SMU to absolutely fucking roll. So that's my opinion. I'm going first half because I don't want the backup.
This kid, Boucher, whatever his name is, was one of the top prospects in Texas, and he bounced because they got what's his face there. Who's there now? That running back, the quarterback there now. Who the hell's the quarterback at Texas right now? Ellinger. Oh yeah. He had to transfer out. But listen, there's been, how many guys go to SMU transfer? Remember Garrett Gilbert? He's still in the league. He's still in the NFL. I can't believe that. But he was in after McCoy got hurt. He came in that bowl. He went to SMU. There's been a lot of guys that fail somewhere else, go to SMU, have good careers, and go to the NFL. So Buechele is this kid is. I'm telling you, he's a pro quarterback. Yeah. I at least I think so. I think he'll be in the mix as like a backup or a practice squad player, but I think he can play. And dude, how many quarterbacks this year didn't get drafted that we thought could play? It was, I was actually kind of surprised. Like, who's the kid from Buffalo that didn't return this year?
Jake Fromm?
No, not Buffalo Bills. No, Buffalo College. The big quarterback. Like he didn't even get drafted. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I'm trying to look.
I'm gonna say Robinson or something like that. Jordan, I don't know, whatever. But
it's not Tyree. It's not Tyree. Fuck Jackson.
Yeah, him, Tyree Jackson.
Okay,
there you go.
Okay, yeah.
Whew, that took a lot of brain power right there. What else we got this week?
Jesus, I was like, fuck, I know this. I know it. Yeah. Okay, final game. And I guess we can kind of get into the FCS game if you want, because at least I know a little bit from University of Arkansas from last week. Gee, the Bucks are just getting so badly outplayed. All right, yeah. What I would say, the Saturday game, Middle Tennessee State versus Army. Army's a 3.5 point favorite. Total is 55.5. Army is starting Christian Anderson Jr. this year. So, don't know a ton about him. We obviously didn't see him last year.
Would you say that Army were the darlings last year? Because they kind of sucked. And I thought
they were a really good team last year.
Army? 2 years ago. Remember that?
2 years ago, they were really good.
Yeah, remember they didn't cover opening night? I was pissed. Who'd they play? Rice?
I do remember that.
I remember being at the station.
Right. Yep, and Christian Anderson is going to be. I'm pretty sure he started for a good portion of the year last year, if I'm not mistaken. But I believe they're going back to him. Okay, I know that it's going to be Parker Heights in there too. So we're going to see what happens.
Well, Army. I mean, listen, they've got they used to be terrible. Like, let's face it. But they're going to go 2 quarter. You know, they're going to do that. And
I think Jabari Lewis is the backup for Army this year. He was the kid that we saw in Mop Up TV last year. So, but Christian Anderson started for them, Joe.
Okay. The defense of Army, I don't trust. If I'm looking at this one, Dan, I don't know why, but I kind of like mid Tennessee plus the 3 here.
Interesting.
It's just giving like a side eye, you know? I
hated Asher O'Hara last year. He's starting for mid Tennessee again this year. I thought he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
Oh, dude, I hated him. You're right.
It's like I don't know if I want to back him week 1. You know what I mean? Yeah, the fact that it's fucking 3.5 and there's the hook, like it really cannot make you want to fucking take Army and back the 3.5. I mean, I might lean the under 55 here. Honestly, I mean, Army last year, how many wins did they have? I know they beat the shit out of UMass, right? They smoked UMass, and I remember they beat Rice opening.
Finally, they lost to
they went 5
Navy because I had that Navy game. I was sweating my balls off. Malcolm Perry and he's running all over the place.
Oh, by the way, Milwaukee's only down 2. Man, the refs have helped this team so much.
No, I'm not calling this a wrangle, but you're right, dude. This has been a.
I mean,
don't get me wrong. Like they got a little, transition's a really big part. But dude, didn't we see this with Miami and Milwaukee or what? 3 weeks ago or something like that. Like Jay Crowder is now just jacking up because he can't defend and he's so tired from defending. But no, I remember going to the beach one day, and I'm like, holy shit, the Bucks are down 20 at half or whatever, and they came back and win. They're doing all this with Giannis on the bench, just to remind you. Army finished 5-8 last year. But they were 3rd in the nation in rushing, of course.
Correct. And they absolutely smoked UMass. They beat Rice opening week, which I also remember that game very distinctly because I think we were on Rice.
You were. Yeah, you were. And I remember I was all, Army's back, man. Yeah. They've been, I was all hyped up and I got fucking hyped down.
If I remember that either pushed or Army covered. I think I either lost or pushed that one. I can't remember.
No, it came down to like the final. I remember. It came down to the final. I was pissed. I remember. I was working a night show that night. I was watching Army doing play-by-play with Rice, and people thought I was fucking sick.
Well, we might be sick. I mean, we're talking about Middle Tennessee State Army here. So honestly, I lean the under 55.5 on that one.
I'm out of bio. Just threw an elbow. No call.
Interesting. Oh, it's going to get chippy. This series is very chippy. Oh, here we go. Let's see. They're finally moving the ball too. Oh, I thought that was going to. All right. Final game this weekend, Joe. Do you want to touch on the Monday BYU game, or do you want to save that for Saturday?
I love. Let's just at least advertise it.
Okay. So BYU Navy opens at 2. The line is 2 on Monday, 8 p.m.
Okay, you ready for this one?
Navy opened as the fave and moved to the dog. BYU getting a lot of love here.
Okay, I'm afraid of Navy because they don't have Perry, so I'm out already. But that quarterback from BYU, this kid they finally, that other dude's gone, right? Finally.
Yes, Tanner Mangum is gone.
Tanner Mangum, like how that guy was there for 7 years. I swear. He's gone, but the little backup they have there, he's a nice little player, man. He's gritty, he moves his feet well.
What? Bushman?
Yes.
Sorry, Zach Wilson. Bushman's their tight end. I think you're talking about the tight end. Sorry.
No, the little quarterback there for BYU is good. He's good.
Yeah. So they had a bunch of guys because Zach Wilson was their guy, and then he got hurt, and they put in Jaron Hall, and then he got hurt, and then they put in Mitt Romney's kid, Baylor Romney. Like they were going through.
Know that.
Listen, you don't remember that? Oh, I was laughing. We talked about. We absolutely talked about that on the podcast. We were laughing our ass off. Yeah, it was Jared All, Zach Wilson, and Baylor Romney. I'm pretty sure. I know Zach Wilson's.
Sorry, I'm giving play-by-plays here. I'm sorry.
Is that
no, you are right, dude. They're loving the Bucks right now.
Yeah, no, they are. So I'm pretty sure Zach Wilson. And by the way, that kid can fucking play.
No, Wilson he can move. He's so good in the pocket, like choppy in his feet, that like they have broken plays. I'm not saying that BYU's this like great offense or whatever, and they're actually better defensively. But this kid moves around in the pocket. He had a touchdown where he dove on a 2-point conversion to win the game. Was it against Boise State last year? I remember did they upset Boise?
Yes, they did. We were on the under, and they ended up going over, which is funny. We're talking about all the losses and none of the wins, but the first part of the year, I think we were like
we remember the losses. We don't remember the wins.
Yeah, we were at like 82% to start the year. Some shit. Oh man. Oh, did Miami just get a big injury there? Is that Butler?
Dragic might be behind you, but I see Jude in the corner misses the 3. They call a foul on that.
Is that Iguodala? I can't tell.
He just took a 3, right? And got nailed in the balls.
Oh man, not his leg. The leg again.
No, it's his lower leg too.
Yeah, that's the same part, the same place he hurt last year. Ankle. It's the ankle. He rolled the ankle.
See if we can walk it off.
Yeah, all right.
He's got three free throws right there, though.
Yeah, if you can.
Wait, is that a foul?
Yes, it is.
Yep, he hit him. Okay.
Yeah, not when I hit him, but he also encroached on his landing space.
The body. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I will say, and I'll just see if I can pull up the BYU football schedule last year. Their schedule was insane last year, and they won and went over the total. If you remember, they lost to South Florida. I will never forget that game because I thought after they lost to South Florida, it was a given. They got smoked week 1 by Utah. They won in double overtime versus Tennessee, and they won in overtime in Provo versus USC. Do you remember those games? I remember the double overtime in the USC game because I was like, holy shit.
I remember every single USC game, BYU game, because I don't know why I.
And then, but then they lost 3 in a row. They lost Washington, Toledo, and USF, and then absolutely smoked Boise State, Utah State, Liberty, Idaho State, UMass, and then lost finally to finish the year.
They're another team that plays up to the competition and loses to everybody.
Dude, at home, that team is unbelievable.
Damn, dude, Tom Seaver passed away. I just saw that.
Oh, damn.
Oh, well.
Rest in peace.
Does this terrific Tom come back now or what? Sorry.
But, yeah, not right now. No.
Too soon? Sorry.
Save that for 2019 though, 7-6 BYU, man. They were good. They somehow were really, really good last year.
And who are they playing again?
They're playing Navy. And
out on Navy without Perry.
So I've not looked into this game, but what I can tell you is that this should be an under game, right?
Yeah, both teams are going to run the ball unless both teams are going to run the ball.
Yeah, should be an under game. BYU is a great defense. I will look more into this game. I really can't. I really don't want to tell you, give you a play on this one because I don't have anything for you. But BYU is actually the sharp side. Navy opened as the favorite. The total opened at 53.5. It is now down to 50. So sharp sides are both are BYU and the under so far. Finally, Thursday, tomorrow night as well. I haven't looked into this one too much, but I can tell you it's been moving all fucking day. Central Arkansas, UAB. UAB's 19.5-point favorites, and total in that one is 48.5. Now, Joe, remember UAB was really, really good this year? Last year, they were a team that we loved to bet on all year, especially me. But this one opened at 15. UAB is now 19.5-point favorite. Central Arkansas won on a last-minute play last week, okay? Their quarterback, who was really not very good last week. I'm blanking on his name off the top of my head. But their quarterback last week did not play well, did not play up to expectations. And I am very worried that this could be ugly real quick, real fast. I believe Braylon Smith.
Dude, St. Central Arkansas can air it out. There's no doubt.
Yeah, by the way, Iguodala's hurt. Iguodala's really hurt.
I think he's going to hit those free throws and he's done. Like, good for him. Good, proud of him for walking off like he's an old school. Listen, this guy's one of the best playoff players of at least this generation here. Like these last 10. Golden State Warrior, he stopped LeBron. Like, that's what he did. He's won championships. He's a leader on this team, and you can't say enough things about but
without Iguodala on the floor, Miami loses a major part of their defense.
Definitely, but maybe I don't know. Maybe they.
If I'm Miami, I'm in panic mode right now. I'm telling you, Iguodala is a huge part of what that team does defensively, especially against Giannis and covering Jimmy Butler.
Do you know how many people, by the way, sent in Tyree Jackson? I wasn't looking.
I saw that.
Thank you, everybody. Somebody dropped in a lowercase wrangle in this game. The lowercase R, because maybe there wasn't really much to it, but there's something going on. Oh, well. 87-82, 1 minute to go here in the third quarter. Milwaukee with the ball. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter here.
And by the way, yes, Bob, Spencer Sanders is still the quarterback at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and between him and Chubb, and it's a good team. Can they play defense? That's the big question. That will always be the big question. Why are you fouling, you idiots? Why foul? Like, DiVincenzo, what are you doing?
He is. I'm telling you, man. I do not like
him. He's fucking regressed.
I do not like
him. Better than him now. Come on, dude.
Dante DiVincenzo has not been good. It feels like to me the whole year. I'm not.
I think he can shoot. Like, if he see, the problem with these guys are, like, JJ Redick figured it out, right? JJ Redick is a sharpshooter. He can play. But he wanted to be with them, and if they fail at it, sometimes you just need to be a defense. DiVincenzo hasn't figured that out. You're on a championship team, dude. Just dribble the ball, don't turn it over, play good defense, and when you're open, shoot the ball. That's it. Don't try to be more than you are, and I think that's what DiVincenzo tries to do at times.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, all right, so we basically have covered college football for this week. We'll get more into it on Saturday morning, too. So I gave out 2 plays on the SMU Texas State game. Gave you my breakdown for tomorrow night's game. I think South Alabama's the side. If you're going to look for something, I think you're going to roll South Alabama. If you can get a 14 or a 14.5, you see a 13. It's probably not a great number. I lean over. I got a 52 on the over, so I'm rooting for the dog in the over tomorrow. Saturday, we'll get to the other games. I'll see if I can scrounge up something for the Central Arkansas UAB game. Probably not. Probably going to leave that off. And then next week, BYU Navy Monday, and then we really, really start getting into football. Next Thursday, Joe, UAB Miami. And then Saturday, Syracuse, North Carolina, Charlotte, App State, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Coastal Carolina, Kansas, Western Kentucky, Louisville, Clemson, Wake Forest, Duke, Notre Dame, Louisiana, Lafayette, Iowa State, UTEP, Texas, Louisiana Tech, Baylor, Tulsa, Oklahoma State. So we get some legitimate games, real college football. Maybe we'll discuss it again next week. Again, what we've previously done in the past is Thursday has been our podcast. We've discussed college football and NBA and whatever else we do. And then, we kind of move on. And Saturday, we really break down the games we want. That's what we've been doing in the past. Maybe we'll go back to that. Maybe Thursday podcast and then, kind of go that way.
Yeah. And Dan, next week, I'll probably be able to let you guys all know a little bit more about our schedules. I think things are going to loosen up a little bit for us as far as availability goes. So we can give an update on that sometime next week.
Yep.
And and Dan, tomorrow, by the way, check it out. Dan will be in studio with myself and John Wallach, the 3 of us in a studio at once, which hasn't happened in a long time.
That is true.
We are going to do some talk. We got the Derby this weekend as well, but we're going to play a game tomorrow. So you'll be in the first segment, and then in the I'm telling you now, just because you're gonna walk, but we're gonna play a game. So you'll have fun with that. You'll enjoy the game. I've played the game before. So now you'll be the one doing the game.
Okay.
So Rich is out the rest of this week. So it'll be myself and Wallach, and I think Ted Johnson's in one of the days. And then Labor Day is Monday, and then we'll find out what happens next week, everybody. So so that's that. 90-86 right now, Miami Heat. 10 seconds to go. Maybe some people are ahead of me or not.
Nope, that is correct. By the way, Milwaukee did not cover the 3-point spread. They're only up by 2 this half. Not good.
So 90 and 86, that's 24 points each, right? So that's 48 for the quarter, for the half total.
Yep.
66 plus. Yeah, I'm good at math. We will be on Twitch tomorrow. Yes, you'll see Dan's face on Twitch as well. No McMurray burgers going on tomorrow. And then I guess Dallas just scored a goal as well in the hockey game. So that's it. Hopefully you were informed. I wish we could give you more PPs. I got to do more research. I'm sorry. I got to know who's playing. There might be some like game day, like, you know, I'm like that Memphis game day. I'm looking at it, circling it. I think fucking Brady's going to have a hell of a year. Like, I think that dude's going to go 5,000 yards this year. And he's going to be in the Heisman Trophy. If they can win the AAC, he'll be in the Heisman Trophy conversation. But can they cover the 19? That's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Again, obviously, I talked about the SMU game a lot. I think we're going to do that. And again, I know that this is not a full college breakdown with tons of win totals and stuff. Here's the problem, guys. There's not a lot of win totals and places to kind of bet them. I know BetOnline is offering some. I know MyBookie is essentially copying BetOnline's lines and throwing those out there too. We've seen a few of metallic skins, but those are pretty much just, you know, big teams, Texas, Oklahoma, stuff like that, which I think are usually the most bet. Joe, before we go, we should talk about Georgia and what happened at the quarterback position today. Because for those of you who have obviously looked at Georgia football, Joe and I, especially Joe, love betting Wake Forest last year because of Jamie Newman, quarterback there. He transferred to Georgia and was projected to be the starter there until today. Newman opted out as the starting quarterback for Georgia. He will be able to play next year, but it sounds like he is going to prep for the NFL draft, Joe, if I'm not mistaken. So Newman will be out as the quarterback, and JT Daniels, who
I was going to say that. Yep. There was going to be a battle. There was going to be a battle there anyways.
Yep. So JT Daniels, but it sounds like Newman had won the battle.
So JT Daniels was the quarterback week 1 when USC played Utah, I believe it was.
Yes. He was super, super hyped as a freshman, got hurt.
And he got hurt, and that's when the other dude came in and just kind of went off. There's another dude that they have named Stetson Bennett. I don't think he's going to be the guy unless they like him. But yeah, I think JT did. Now, dude, the SEC this year, and we'll get into it at some point, new coaches, new quarterbacks, like, yeesh. But Zamir White's going to be still there. That's their big time running back. You know, looking around that team, they still have some decent talent there overall.
They replacing pretty much their whole offensive line. I think 3 out of 5 guys in the offensive line are new players, which is, you know, not great. Obviously, they lost a lot of talent last year.
They have one senior coming back, Justin Schaefer. I have no clue who that guy is, but the rest of them, yeah, all freshmen, sophomore, juniors. And there's a graduate transfer, Trey McKitty. I don't know if he played last year or not, but yeah, I'm looking at their team right now. You know, I think Georgia's going to be down, but they're always a damn good team. You know, they play that. They're Kirby Smart, always figures it out. But you know, last year, I know they went on to go to the Fromm was really, I think, the difference for them. It really was. But I think they're going to be down this year, dude. I do.
So from what I've heard, Newman was winning the battle there, and he was going to be the starting quarterback. And they had put in a lot of RPO packages. And now with JT Daniels, you pretty much have to scrap that and go totally different. Totally different.
And I wonder if that's bad for that offensive line, because this kid, he's known to throwing the ball downfield, you know? Yeah. And that's what USC's, that they run that pro style offense.
I mean, it's definitely not good.
Yeah. You don't know. So, yeah, I was actually interested about that one, like who would have won that battle, because I actually read a lot of people were more interested in them running that pro offense than the run pro option, run pass option. But hey, listen, Wake Forest was up and down all year, but that kid could play well in that RPO, and that's where I think the NFL's going. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm interested to break down the SEC, and maybe we'll get something going on with the Big Ten at some point as well.
Oh, big three from Milwaukee. They just take a 91-90 lead there. Kyle Korver with a nice three.
Jimmy Butler on the bench.
Well, first lead since the first quarter for the Bucks. So, well, we're going to see. I'm telling you, this series is going to be 6 or 7 games.
And Dan, not for nothing. This is why the Celtics tomorrow night, they got to fucking go for the kill. Tomorrow night, they can't play half court. They need to play the same way they're playing. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Yesterday, the Celtics hit threes, and you know, they didn't get the benefit of the refs. I didn't think so. I mean, I know they shot a ton of free throws, but that's another big three for Miami. It's just going to be back and forth all night. I just think that the Celtics with 5 threes by Marcus Smart, that was the difference, if you ask me.
If Marcus Smart does not go off, the Celtics don't win that game. I mean, I think that's pretty simple. Now, to be fair, Kemba Walker really struggled at the same time. So you really can't. You have to expect progression from Walker to kind of go back to where he was average wise. At the same time, what can you expect from Robert Williams? Because he had a great game, so you expect some regression there. So if you're averaging it out, the progression of Kemba and the regression between Marcus Smart and Robert Williams is probably better than the progression of Kemba, especially if you're going to play the way that you did last night. Tatum's going to have 30, 40, whatever he had. So the way I'm looking at it, Joe, the Celtics are the Raptors are -1 tomorrow. I'm not going to bet it. I'm not going to touch it. But if the NBA lets the Celtics go up 3-0, good for them. I don't see it. And the Celtics were the better of the two teams yesterday. I don't think that was a question. I think that Toronto, once again, shot terribly. And it wasn't just, contested shots from open shots, meaning open, like no one there, no one contesting the shot. 31%. Usually you're supposed to hit 60 to 70% on open shots. Okay. So again, that is a problem, man. That is a huge problem. So if Toronto can't hit open shots, the series is over.
Yeah, exactly. And Marcus Saul's been open for shots. He's missed. He was in foul trouble yesterday. Ibaka's been pretty good yesterday. I don't know why they weren't playing him at times. But Siakam can't just be a post guy and go to the basket. That favors the Celtics. It does. If you want to put him on, let him dribble and take 10, 15 seconds off the clock and score 2 points. The Celtics going to go down there and jack up a 3. You know what I mean? And every time he misses a shot, they're going to go in transition. I still think Toronto's a good team. They're well coached. They've been getting they've been getting out coached the last 2 games. And I'm not one who thinks coaching's great in the playoffs, but I think in that type of series it did. And I'm going to throw this one at you, Dan. It really has nothing to do with gambling. I think the chemistry is better without Gordon Hayward. People are going to fight with me about it. This was a huge thing this morning.
I listen. I do not.
And
I don't agree with that take. I don't.
No. Here's the deal. They without Hayward, right? Their bench is weaker. They don't have that matchup guy. Like Marcus Smart's better off the bench. I get all that, and I don't think they can win a championship without Hayward. That's all. I just think that Kyrie Irving was addition by subtraction. Al Horford was addition by subtraction. And you add Kemba into the mix, and it's good. I just think Hayward's never worked out. They've always tried. He's always gotten injured. Last year, they called him the teacher's pet. Like, I know he's had good games. I know he's an all-star ability. I just think the team plays better without him, and it shows. Like, dude, they're 19-6 without him.
Can I make a caveat to that? Yeah. They're better when Hayward comes off the bench. I don't think they're better when Hayward doesn't play. I think they're better when Hayward comes off the bench. When he is on the bench and are able to start Smart, they match up better. Hayward coming off the bench basically allows him to run the entire second unit, not to mention play, allows him to match up better, because I feel like 3 wings, Tatum, Brown, Hayward, it's hard to get good matchups there. Smart allows you better matchups, especially with guards. He gives you a scoring option off the bench, and he runs that whole entire second unit. You don't have to put the ball in Brad Wanamaker's hands the whole time. So to me, it's not even close. Hayward off the bench makes that team better.
And that was my point, was that, hey, when Hayward comes back, or if he does, do you move him into the starting rotation? You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. And we asked Mike Gorman that this morning too, the voice of the Boston Celtics, and he still thinks they're a better team with Hayward, and I'm sure everybody will say that. I just, dude, I see chemistry. We all see chemistry. Without him around, man, they're playing good ball. And I know that that bench is weak. Trust me. That was my first concern when Hayward went down. Oh, shit. Here comes Wanamaker and Samuel Ojale and Grant Williams. Robert Williams is playing well, and Enes Kanter is going along with it right now. But I bet you he's going to have a big role somewhere in Kanter, I think, when it's all said and done. So we're at a commercial break here. Go ahead. You got a thought on that?
I was going to say one more thing. What do you think about Brad Stevens and the coaching job he has done? Because I felt that he outcoached Nick Nurse in game one.
Yeah.
I felt that he was on par game two. I didn't think there was a big advantage to what Brad did. I thought he got lucky that Marcus Smart got hot and was unlucky that Kemba Walker wasn't playing better. But I didn't think he did a ton to change the game. I wonder what Toronto is going to come out there with game three, because if they don't change something, this series is over.
I don't think Toronto expected Robert Williams to be what he was, and he can run up and down the court faster than Marcus All can. The other thing is, I think they're letting OG Anunoby do his thing, which puts more pressure on Van Vliet. So, and we talked about that in the beginning. Like, I think that at times the Celtics should just consider putting Shimmy on Anunoby. Anunoby scoring his points yesterday really didn't have anything to do with somebody not covering him. They're focused on Lowry and other guys trying to get into, and Van Vliet getting to the paint. They want Siakam one-on-one on Tatum. Like, they want that. And Jaylen Brown right now is playing outstanding defense. So, like, Tice is, I know he had 3 points yesterday, but he's still at 10 rebounds. Like, he's still doing his thing. At some point, they're going to make that adjustment. Anunoby had a big game yesterday. I don't think he can do that again, do you? I don't know if he can have another 25-point game.
I don't expect him to be a 25-point scorer. No, if they do, again, if Toronto has to rely on him to score 20 a game, they're going to lose. What they really need is they need Siakam to actually play. And it does not feel like Siakam has any intention of playing, dude. I don't really know what's going on with him, but there is something wrong with Pascal Siakam, because he did not play this way.
Has he shot a three? Has he even gone at the? I mean, he stepped on the line yesterday. I know that.
It doesn't feel like he's confident in his range right now. Like, he's hitting the little bunnies and the nice shots inside, but he's unconfident in the range. The fact that the bookmakers still make that line Toronto -1 tomorrow. Hey, they're hanging it. They want your Celtics money, man. I'm just saying. I'm not touching it. I'm not taking the Celtics. I'm not taking the Raptors. I'm not doing that whole thing so you guys can lose your fucking mind. By the way, Leonard Fournette to the Buccaneers, confirmed by Adam Schefter a minute ago. So Tom Brady with another toy. Leonard Fournette going to the Bucs. I know the Patriots did try and sign him, obviously. But yeah,
they should have never let him go. He was here. They shouldn't have let him go.
They gave him an offer and said, shop it around.
Though? This is weird, and I'm not saying that because he's gone, okay? I like what they have in a healthy Lamar Miller. Like, if Lamar Miller's healthy, and you like Sony Michel, who you believe in, and they liked what Damian Harris can bring to the table and what Rex Burkhead can bring, I look at Fournette as a guy that's – someone tried to compare him to LeGarrette Blount today. No, I just see him as a guy who, around the goal line, you want to give him the football. But I think that Lamar Miller, when he's on the field, is not just a guy that you have to worry about running the ball. You can catch the ball too, Where, like, when Michelle's in the game, it's like you don't really worry about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He definitely gives you some more versatility. And he's also the runner that I felt the Patriots needed badly last year. Like, they did not have a guy who could hit the hole and get you a yard. Like, they just didn't have that guy last year. By the way, Milwaukee is falling apart here. I don't know what's going on with them, but man, they're down by 10.
Not getting foul calls there either.
They're not getting foul calls. They're now down by 10. I'm starting to think that Milwaukee is just not good enough
Mm.
in this series. And they're going to win a few games here, but you
Ooh,
know,
Crowder, huh? Wow.
they need to figure out something and quick, because if they can't shoot the ball, Miami is going to kill them. So, all right, that's it for me. I'm
All right,
done.
dude. Yeah, I'm done too. So, all right, we're gonna be on bright and early, 7:00 tomorrow. Check it out, Toucher and Rich. This has been another edition of Over Under 985.
Who you got? Have a good one, boys.
I'll send this over to you, Dan. Take it easy.